Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Context. So, in a previous episode, we touched on who I believed at the time to be one of the very first Black Spider-Man. And today, we're going to be telling a story about who might just be the first Spider-Woman. I'm pretty confident in this one. So, in the first Black Spider-Man video, a commenter actually corrected me that the first Black Spider-Man was actually Hobby Brown, aka the Prowler. He appeared like in disguise as Spider-Man, and that predated the Electric Company's Black Spider-Man Kid book by a couple years. So shout out to you for correcting me. Thank you very much. I suppose you can kind of consider this a little bit of a sequel to that. At least, a sequel as far as the context, multiverse is concerned. Okay, so listen, let's get to it. We all know Spider-Woman, right? Like, does she need an introduction at this point? And yes, I do know there's a lot of different Spider-Women. But you guys know which one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the OG, the original Jessica Drew. Her first appearance was like 1976 or something like that. But then this one predates that by like a year or something. So I'm that's why I'm fairly confident that this was actually the first first Spider-Woman in general. Correct me if I'm wrong. I actually did some research this time, and I think I'm good here. So grab some popcorn, sit back as we take a look at the first Spider-Woman. Our story begins with Spider-Man having just finished up a show with the Electric Company staff when, what do you know it, Vulture suddenly appears. The Electric Company, they comment that shouldn't the Vulture have flown south for the winter? And Spider-Man says he's doing some spring cleaning by cleaning out the jewelry store. You gotta love this like 1970s comedy, but also they know he's just a man in a bird suit, right? Like he doesn't actually migrate for the winter. Anyway, Spider-Man, he gets into a bit of a tussle with him and manages to get back the jewelry from the Vulture and return it to the jewelry store. Now this is where Spider-Man messes up, because after saving the day again, he decides to stop and get a tan. And instead of keeping the spider suit next to him, he decides to web it up and hangs it over the side of the building that he's tanning on. Why? Why would you do this? Just sit on it and just leave it next to you. I don't know why he would do this. So not only does he make this horrible mistake, but he falls asleep. And not only does he fall asleep, but he forgot his webbing melts under the heat of the sun. So there's so many things that had to go wrong here for this to happen. And somehow the Electric Company's version of Peter Parker hit all the things. Like there's a certain number of like stupidity and just happenstance that would have to happen for this to occur, and all of it happened at the same time. So enter the Electric Company original character, Valerie, who is envious of Spider-Man and wonders what she can do to become a hero like him. And that opportunity, as we saw, is gonna literally fall in her lap. The opportunity to become a hero literally falls in her lap, because the spider suit, the webbing that's on it melts and causes it to fall from the building. Like literally right into her lap. It's pretty crazy coincidence. So she takes the suit home and starts to workshop it. She does some size adjustments so it'll fit her, and obviously she can't stick to walls, so she uses dart suction cups. Okay, so look, Valerie is like probably what, like 140, something like that. You know, these darts are designed to hold like what, 15 grams. Valerie, what are you talking about? You can't use these. You can't be a grown adult and use dart suction cups to hold your body weight. Even the comic is like, hey, don't try this at home. Don't do this. Don't do what Valerie's doing. She also discovers the web shooters as well. And with the ability to now stick to walls and use, her webbing, she decides to swing out to start her adventure as a superhero. Meanwhile, during all this, Peter Parker wakes up with a horrible case of sunburn, and he quickly finds out he doesn't have his Spidey suit, and now he has to go home and grab an extra one. So here's the thing, the dialogue here says Peter has to sneak home unseen, but it's like, couldn't he have just walked home? Like, he's not naked, he has pants, like he has pants on, he has like this muscle shirt on, like no one would have cared. Did he not want to wake like Aunt May or something? Like, he didn't have to go to the window is what I'm saying. Like, he could have just walked home. Like he wasn't naked. I don't get this. So anyway, Spider-Man is able to grab his other suit, and he very quickly discovers Valerie. And he's like, alright Val, the gig is up. And she just says, no, hold on, you can't have all the fun. And this just works. And he's just like, alright, yell if you need anything. Spider-Man, no, like what are you saying? Like, Valerie, like you can't do this. You can't just let someone like take your super suit and be like, alright, well just yell if you need anything. Could you imagine like you steal like a fireman's suit, like his extra suit, and he's like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, come on man, you can't have all the fun. And he's like, alright, well just yell if you need anything. I bet yet like a policeman, yeah, just yell if you get into any trouble. This is so irresponsible, Spider-Man. Like, especially when you consider the fact that Valerie is like climbing walls with like dart suction cups glued to her hands and toes. Like, she's clearly over her head here. She clearly doesn't have the like scientific ingenuity of Spider-Man. She should not be told, okay, well just yell if you need something. She's not cooking pizza rolls, man. She might literally die from this. But, regardless, the Vulture, he quickly shows up again and he attacks Spider-Man. And thanks to his sunburn, he can't fight back, I guess. Now, here's the thing. And despite everything I was saying earlier, in a surprise twist, Valerie actually ends up saving Spider-Man and not the other way around. And then with both their webbing, they're able to subdue Vulture. This comes at the cost of Valerie's homemade like wall climbing suction cups. Like surprise, right? They they're not good, and she could have easily died trying to climb walls. But yeah, needless to say, she ends up giving up the Spider-Woman title. And when she asked Spider-Man like, well, how does he climb walls? And he's just like, that's a secret, wink. So listen, this was a really interesting story. So unlike the previous story that we covered with Dwayne, which was we found out that story is kind of the whole thing was a dream, a concussed-induced dream. But here, like, she legit was Spider-Woman. Like, this was like she actually like did some heroic stuff for like a page or two. And she attacked and webbed and helped jail up a villain. So I mean, like, this legit is like her being Spider-Woman. Like, this isn't like oh well, technically she was wearing the suit. Like, no, she did stuff. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely the first Spider-Woman. Let me know if it's not. I'm pretty positive it is though. And yeah, that's her story. The first story of Spider-Woman, and simultaneously the first Black Spider-Woman. So yeah, leave me a comment, correct me if I'm wrong, like I've said numerous times in this video. Leave a like if you can, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, have a good one. See ya.